Hey guys, so today's video is a bit of a different one. I'm doing a bit of a commentary video, and that is because I've noticed the rise of talking about celebrities rather than YouTubers and talking about kind of nostalgic things from the past rather than new things happening right now. And I've been really enjoying those videos. I feel like Sloan makes some of those videos, Patrick CC makes some of those videos, and I just want to bring my own perspective into the topic, I guess. And the one that's really struck me, and I've watched so many videos on it, is Disney factory made celebrities. Disney created stars. I'm super into it, and I think that is because I'm not really sure the age ranges of the commentary channels that talk about Disney, but I'm 22, so it's 2022 right now, so when I started watching Disney, it was about 2006 to 2008. I was about 6 to 8 years old. I think before then I was watching like Cartoon Network. I think my first introduction to Disney was Zack and Cody, which was 2008. And before then they had like Kim Possible, Lilo and Stitch. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody was like my first proper show on Disney Channel, and that was a moment. I feel like surprisingly I kind of see them as like super successful on Disney. I feel like not many child stars on Disney managed to get 2 shows that they starred in. So obviously Zack and Cody had Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and then Sweet Life on Deck, which they both starred in as the main characters. So that puts it at like 3 seasons for Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and then 3 or 4 seasons for Sweet Life on Deck. Many stars only got 1 show, and then maybe a few movies, and maybe like featured in a few different other shows, but they were like starring in 2 different shows, and they never really get talked about. That's a different topic for a different day. But Disney has been known for pumping out stars, celebrities, but that kind of came to a screeching halt a few years ago with the introduction of social media. And I feel like where I was going with the age thing is I was there for the prime era of creating stars and celebrities. My favorite TV show after Zack and Cody, because kind of when I started getting into TV shows, was Hannah Montana. I was a Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana stan fan, and everything in between. I had the blanket, the backpack, the lunchbox, the pencil case, the pencils, the toys, the books, the everything. I watched every single episode multiple times. That was my first introduction to like being a stan of something. So Hannah Montana had aired for 4 seasons between 2008 and 2011, which means I was between the ages of 6 and 11, and then I continued to watch Hannah Montana until now. I would probably rewatch it now. I still have Disney Plus, and I still like to rewatch my old TV shows. So I was 6 to 11. That's like prime years to love Disney channels, prime years to be obsessed with them and get everything with them. And we had some other TV shows. I feel like I actually stopped watching Disney Channel around 2015, 2016 when I was 15, 16. That's so embarrassing. But I was there. I was there until Disney Channel became a flop. So why do I lick my lips like that? So I'll be talking about, from my perspective, the perspective of someone that was there to be a stan, how it felt to have these stars created in front of my eyes, and why I miss it so dearly these days. Because nowadays we have, you know, the Charlies, the Addisons, the Dixies, but we do not have a Miley Cyrus, we don't have a Demi, we don't have a Selena, we don't have a Jonas Brothers. I was obsessed with Hannah Montana, like I said. Not so much High School Musical. For some reason, I like watched it when it came on, but I didn't have anything with High School Musical on it. It was obviously Hannah Montana for me. I was definitely a fan of Camp Rock. If you're a fan of Camp Rock, you have taste. You have taste buds, and they work. And I was, and I still am, obsessed with the celebrities that came out of Disney Channel. I'm obsessed with Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Demi Lovato. Like, I'm just obsessed with the whole vibe, the aesthetic, Jonas Brothers. They intrigue me. I just feel like there's such a place in my heart for these people, because I literally grew up with them. I grew up with them on my TVs, just a singular TV. And yeah, there's just an attachment because they were with you all day, every day. Well, after school. I'm not going to talk about every single TV show that I watched as a kid. I'm going to just mention the ones that why do I keep on doing that lip thing? But I'm going to mention the ones that created big celebrities. So let's go back to the past. The all new Mickey Mouse Club. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading, because there is no way in hell I'm going to remember all of this. It was giving SNL vibes. It was giving, you know, they had skits, they had music, they had the whole thing. It was kind of like a reality, like a talk show situation, but not really. So I'm comparing it to SNL, just kind of like a mixture of different skits, but just for kids. So who came out of the all new Mickey Mouse Club? We had Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera, the 3 icons, legends, and the moments. However, what happened? Disney missed out on making money from them. That's what happened. Notably, these are huge stars that transcend different generations, and Disney didn't release music for them officially and did not capitalize on the stardom of the 3 that I just mentioned. And that is what I'm here to talk about. In 1989, Disney created Hollywood Records, which is their own record label, and that was after their original one, which was just for like Disney movies, like animated movies, where they would create songs for the animated movies, sell them to other people to make money for the movies, because back then Disney didn't have the funds that it has now. It's kind of funny to think about, considering Disney is as huge as it is, and literally buys anything and everything. But after that happened, they created Hollywood Records, which was in 1989, and that was their official record label that they have until today. And that is where they would sign potential stars, music stars they want to release music with. However, they didn't sign Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, or Christina Aguilera, who all went on to have amazing, long, fruitful, successful careers. Obviously, Britney Spears is a scandal in itself. That is a whole separate situation. But they failed to sign her. After that flop of a situation for Disney, you know, creating 3 stars, giving them the Disney like mark, being like, here, you were on Disney, you had all these eyes in front of you, go out there and make money for other labels. They were like, maybe that wasn't a move. Maybe that just wasn't like a good idea. So in 2001, they created Lizzie McGuire on Disney Channel. Disney Channel had a few renditions, like they would get kind of, it was renamed a few times before it became Disney Channel. And Lizzie McGuire was huge. Now, I wasn't there for Lizzie McGuire because, bear in mind, I was 1 year old. But I still kind of know what it's about. I just have never watched it because I was literally 1. It had 2 million views per episode, which was unheard of at the time for Disney. It's really unheard of for most platforms. Like 2 million views per episode is incredible. It was a huge hit. Now they released a soundtrack after the first season, which actually went platinum. And I was, I think, the first time when Disney saw the soundtracks as like viable money-making machines. And Lizzie McGuire then had a movie as well, and they released the soundtrack for that, and it also went platinum. So we can see that music and Disney has been the way to go for a long time. Like, clearly people that watch Disney love the music on Disney, and we want more of it. They were seeing that connection. However, no one was really doing anything about it, bear in mind. Like, they were like, everyone likes to watch the TV show or the movie and then get the music. Let's not do anything about it. She fails to continue doing the show because of money, negotiation issues. They didn't want to pay her as much as she thought she should be paid. She then continued to release 3 albums under Hollywood Records, which she was signed to, obviously, just because she was on Disney. They weren't going to make the same mistake again of not signing someone, you know, like Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, and Britney Spears. So they signed her. She released Metamorphosis, Hilary Duff, and Dignity under Hollywood Records, and then she left in 2008, allegedly amicably. So after she left amicably from Hollywood Records in 2008, she then followed in Miley's footsteps, weirdly, because Miley came after Hilary and was actually deemed to be an inspiration of Hilary. No, Hilary was an inspiration for Miley, essentially. She actually signs to RCA Records after Hollywood Records, and that is in around 2014. So it took a really long time between labels for Hilary Duff. I feel like she's way more known for her acting rather than for her music, but that is just my opinion. Anyway, so we get that. We get the Lizzie McGuire, we get the albums, but it just doesn't have the impact that Disney quite wanted. Like, they went platinum with their first original stuff with the soundtracks and the first album, and after that it was just kind of not it. And Hilary has been seen as the blueprint for Miley, Selena, Demi, and the future stars of Disney. I'm gonna get into why. So they once again like almost had it, but not really. Like, they were almost creating a superstar, but just failed to do it just by that little margin. So in 2003, actually, they get the Cheetah Girls. That was huge. I never realized how huge the Cheetah Girls were. And bear in mind, yes, I was 3 when the Cheetah Girls came out, but it kept on being re-aired and replayed on Disney Channel. But the Lizzie McGuire show never was. At least not for me, not when I was watching Disney Channel. I don't know, maybe it was for other people. As if we were watching a different Disney Channel. So it was the first made-for-TV movie musical for Disney Channel. It had 84 million worldwide viewers, a lot of eyes on the Cheetah Girls. The second, the Cheetah Girls movie, actually was the most successful, with 8.1 million viewers just in the US alone. The Cheetah Girls then start a band called the Cheetah Girls. Like, you know, they got signed as a band, also as actors in the movie called the Cheetah Girls. So they were the Cheetah Girls in the movie and the Cheetah Girls off screen, which became a common thing for the stars that came after Lizzie McGuire. Lizzie McGuire was Lizzie McGuire the character, and then Hilary Duff. So Hilary Duff did some soundtracks for Lizzie McGuire, but then she released her own albums. This was like, you're the Cheetah Girls on screen and you're the Cheetah Girls off screen. Got it? Got it. And I feel like that's what worked for them, because it created an easy to understand plotline for children to follow. I feel like if you have like Hilary Duff and Lizzie McGuire, people are like, why would we care about Hilary Duff when we want Lizzie McGuire? By people, I mean children. Whereas if you have the Cheetah Girls, it's easier for kids to persuade their parents to take them to concerts and to buy music for a character from a TV show rather than like a celebrity that the parents are kind of not sure about, you know? Anyway, so I just wanted to add a little bit of a tidbit there for why it was like a great idea to make it the same thing in real life and on screen. They had an 86-date concert tour, one of the top 10 concert tours of 2006 is what it was. And it broke the record for the Houston Rodeo that was set by Elvis Presley himself in 1973 is when he set that. And it was beat by the Cheetah Girls with 73,000 tickets sold in 3 minutes for the Houston Rodeo show. 73,000 tickets in 3 minutes. I think that's kind of when, I feel like whenever I watch videos about Disney and how they pumped out celebrities, no one really mentions the Cheetah Girls in full detail. And I'm here to mention them because I think they were actually the blueprint. Disney saw that they beat a record that was set by Elvis Presley himself. 73,000 tickets in 3 minutes. 86 dates. 86 concerts. #1 watched movie. And then second watched movie. And then third. They were just going and going and going and going. However, it didn't really translate, once again, to real life. The exact same thing as Hilary Duff. She was famous as Lizzie McGuire, but not quite so famous as Hilary Duff. I'm not saying Hilary Duff isn't famous. Don't even start with me. But I'm just saying it didn't really translate so well. Her future albums as Hilary Duff didn't really go platinum or didn't get the same success that the original one did with Hollywood Records. And the same kind of happened for the Cheetah Girls. So let me get into it. The Cheetah Girls started working on a real album, not a soundtrack. So they said in an interview, they were like, we're working on a real album, not like a Disney album, essentially. And the debut album for the Cheetah Girls dropped September 2007. Now, after that, it was a bit radio silence. So they kind of went their separate ways. Raven played in That's So Raven in 2004 and Raven's Home in 2017, which is apparently a great success. Adrienne, there's a bit more drama with her. She was actually in 3LW with Keely, who played a different character on the Cheetah Girls. They were both in a girl band together with a third member. And their 4th album as 3LW was supposed to come out at the same time as they were doing the Cheetah Girls. But it was actually renamed, delayed, and then not released due to image conflicts between 3LW and the Cheetah Girls. This was not family friendly enough. And I think this was the first moment where Disney kind of started to very much hone down on the rules for celebrities that they have on the Disney show. And this is when it became super strict for future stars coming in. And there were certain rules they really had to adhere to. And we're going to talk about that maybe in a different video. I want to kind of talk about the culture, the lifestyle for celebrities on Disney. And I think that really, really came to play with 3LW and the Cheetah Girls. This right here was not working for them. Then 3LW, after this album doesn't get released, go on a hiatus, and Adrienne in 2008 announced that they disbanded. And there was actually drama between Keely and Adrienne where apparently they like one assaulted the other and there was like a situation going on there. That's a whole separate issue. Adrienne went on to sign with Island Def Jam Records. Once again, they missed out on a celebrity that they could have signed to Hollywood Records. But at that point, I don't think they wanted Adrienne. I think they wanted the Cheetah Girls. And they couldn't have that. So Adrienne just went on to do her own thing. She signed to Island Def Jam Records and dropped 2 songs, Uncontrollable and Big Spender, which were both used in Confessions of a Shopaholic, released in 2009. After that, Adrienne really didn't have much music success. And she also, on The Real in 2015, mentioned how she didn't really like her singing voice anymore because Disney pressured you, heavily complimented you when your voice sounded really young because the shows were made for kids and the movies were made for kids. So sounding young was a very good thing. And because she started growing up, she didn't sound young anymore. And that played a huge role in how, I guess, insecure she felt about her singing voice. But it just goes to show how much what Disney does and says sticks with the people that were on Disney and how much it mentally messes them up. And I want to make a whole separate video on that. Then we have Sabrina and Keely, the other 2 members of the Cheetah Girls, who actually didn't have much success in general. That's not me being shady, just stating facts. In 2009, the Cheetah Girls disbanded and they went on to do a web series talk show called Dinner with Friends, which had 9 episodes on YouTube from July to August 2011. And then they did March Moms and then Bad Sex with Good People, but that's about all I kind of know about them. Sabrina had some TV show appearances and did Dancing with the Stars season 5 because she was a professional dancer. Keely filmed a music video for a song called Make Me a Drink in 2008, which she announced in 2009, but it never dropped and then was leaked in 2018, which is a whole 9 years later. I had to do quick maths there. She also played in Elle, a modern day Cinderella tale. She made a song called Spectacular that was only released to club DJs for the first week. They just sent out to clubs, and then released on YouTube to so much controversy that she had to address it on her website and on the Joy Behar show, which I guess was the first like cancellation drama of those times, but she had to address it on her own website. After the Cheetah Girls, we kind of noticed like, okay, there is an interest for music and Disney, with mainly the Cheetah Girls, with the tour they had, with the sales they had. It sparked something in Disney's brain, but they really had to like iron out the details, fine-tune things a bit, because it just seemed like they were quite sloppy with the way they did things. So I think this was like them trying to get their bearings on what's going on. So in 2007 August, they released High School Musical to 7.7 million views on Premiere. Do you know how crazy that is? I just want to talk about that. How crazy is that? Okay, the album for that movie goes platinum and is the #1 selling album of that year. We can see where this is going. However, the stars from High School Musical didn't really have an amazing music career. Once again, it's almost like we're seeing like something, we're seeing a situation brewing, and then it just never really comes to an end. It's just kind of like, okay, so we're doing album of the year. Is anyone going to release music? No, great. Vanessa Hudgens had a few songs, nothing really crazy. Ashley Tisdale had a few things here and there, nothing too successful. Zac Efron never really went into music, and apparently he had a double singing for him in High School Musical, so I don't think he was ever going to be a singer. I think he was just on there because he was a stereotypically good-looking guy, and, you know, it just made sense to have him on the movie, but I don't think he was ever going to become a musician. So once again, it's like they have this success situation, and they just can't quite put a finger on how to make it happen. So we get Hannah Montana, which premiered 2 months after High School Musical, and they actually cross-promoted it with this wonderful ad where they all kind of sit down on the original set of Hannah Montana and they all talk about how amazing Hannah Montana's going to be. And it was, bear in mind, Hannah Montana was amazing. It's still amazing to this day. It was actually the biggest season premiere on Disney. It seems to follow the trend that Disney has paved out so far. You know, middle school, high school kids, talented in music. But it almost seemed like the Cheetah Girls was too many people to try and take care of. Like trying to create a career for 4 different people at the same time. There's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Same with High School Musical, there was just too many people to try and create individual careers for. We had Lizzie McGuire, which they missed out on because of, you know, not paying her enough and all of that stuff, and then just not promoting the music enough. And those who had the original Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, they missed out on that. So I feel like they took all of those ideas and put it into one, which is a middle school girl who lives a double life and is a celebrity and can sing, but you're just focusing on one person. So it's super easy to create a career for one person because you can put all your budgets and ideas and thoughts into this one career rather than trying to create a career for 20 different people. So Hannah Montana premieres, it's a huge success. Album for season 1 goes 3 times platinum in 6 months. We're seeing progress. We're seeing them ironing out the issues. We're seeing them put a finger on what the issue was and iron it out. That's what I said. Then season 2 comes out. They have an album for that, and it goes 3 times platinum in 6 months again. Miley was doing it for Disney. Then at the same time as season 2, they realized, you know, in the show, she's literally called Miley because they thought that was perfect for her. So she is Miley. I don't know how else to say this. Miley is the character on the show, but Miley is also the real life actor. So it's super easy to make it look like Miley and Miley are the same to children watching it, which is what they couldn't do with Hillary and Lizzie. And also what they couldn't do with the Cheetah Girls and the actresses. Do you see how Disney is ironing out the issues? It is super easy to sell to children an actor and a character that are named the same thing, because to children, that is the same person. Lizzie and Hillary were not the same person. So when children cared about Lizzie, they didn't care about Hillary. And this is why her albums after Hollywood Records were kind of a flop in the music industry, because she wasn't Lizzie. Miley was Miley. Miley was in the show as Miley and Hannah Montana. And then Miley the actor was Miley the actor, but she was also Miley. I hope I'm making sense. I'm getting very excited about this. This was the first time when they made a really good executive decision of naming the character after the actor to bridge them closer together. Children don't care about surnames. Yeah, one was Miley Stewart, one was Miley Cyrus. Miley is Miley. She looks the same, she sounds the same, she has the same name. She's the same person. Which, once again, for mental health of Miley Cyrus probably wasn't that great because she was literally the character. She didn't have her own identity. But to Disney, this was great because then they were able to release her own personal album as Miley Cyrus alongside the Hannah Montana Season 2 soundtrack, and both did amazingly well because her personal Miley album went platinum in the first month. Then we have the introduction of Selena Gomez in Hannah Montana as a rival. She's like a rival pop star on Hannah Montana. It's a crossover. We're going to come back to Selena Gomez in a minute. At the same time, they have signed Jonas Brothers to Hollywood Records as just a regular label deal rather than a TV show 2-deal situation. They've signed the label first, which I think was a first for them. They normally have the actor play in the TV show and then sign him to a label. This time they went label, and then afterwards Jonas Brothers will get a TV show. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the Jonas Brothers album released, goes platinum. Because at this point, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're just pumping things out like this. Anyway, High School Musical 2 drops and is the largest premiere in Disney Channel history with 17.2 million viewers. I'm in awe. What plays right after the High School Musical 2 premiere? A Hannah Montana episode. I actually got this from Patrick CC. I watched it on his video, so all credit to him. Hannah Montana plays right after that, and I wouldn't have found this anyway. That's why I'm crediting Patrick CC. Everything else I found just on Wikipedia and just like running around different pages, but I would not be able to remember this if it wasn't for him. I don't know where he found this. A Hannah Montana episode premieres right after High School Musical 2, and it is the Jonas Brothers crossover. Genius. Genius. It is actually the most watched Hannah Montana episode in the history of Hannah Montana. In all 4 seasons, it is the most watched episode. And it is the perfect introduction of the Jonas Brothers. The way that Disney Channel did their cross promotions and promotions in general, mind-boggling. Mind-blowing, actually. So this is the biggest episode. We have now taken the most successful TV show on Disney Channel to date. We have now put a group that they have just signed to their label in the most popular episode of the most popular TV show. It's obviously leading to success. After this, Wizards of Waverly Place premieres. It's also a great success. And Selena Gomez does the intro song. Camp Rock then drops with who? Demi Lovato. Yes, you're right. And the Jonas Brothers, who were just in the biggest Hannah Montana episode. So they were the draw to Camp Rock. And then we get introduced to Demi Lovato through this. So High School Musical 2 to Hannah Montana and Jonas Brothers. Jonas Brothers to Camp Rock to Demi Lovato. I hope I'm making sense. My mind is going through it right now. So Camp Rock drops to 8.5 million views. They also release an album for Camp Rock, obviously. After this, Miley, the Jonas Brothers, and Demi Lovato all drop personal albums that all go platinum and gold. Selena stars in Another Cinderella Story, which is off Disney, and it's actually a movie that Hilary Duff also played in a few years prior. Very interesting. Sunny with a Chance then drops, which is Demi Lovato's own show. Then we have Princess Protection Program, which now brings Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez into one sphere. That movie is also a success. Good for them. Then we get a Demi album, which goes gold. Then we get a Wizards of Waverly Place album, which goes 2 times platinum. Then we get Miley dropping her own personal gem, Party in the USA, which is to date her biggest song, and it goes 10 times platinum. I never realized quite, like when I was a kid, obviously I knew that these people were successful. Obviously I saw all the tours and the concerts, and I bought all the merch and I bought all the whatever, like I was obsessed with them. But I think as a kid, you don't quite realize the magnitude of like the stats behind the scenes. You don't know about going platinum, and you don't know about streams and selling albums. You just kind of like, oh, you know, I can see that this person has a lot of fans. I'm one of them, but you don't really quite understand what going 10 times platinum means. Party in the USA went 10 times platinum. Miley is like a teenager, you know, she hasn't even turned 18. This is insane. After that, we get Wizards of Waverly Place, the movie, which is the second most watched Disney original movie of all time. Selena Gomez is, with Hannah Montana, up there with just like being the queen of Disney. They're like fighting for the throne. To this day, I'm conflicted. Who was the queen of Disney Channel Miley Cyrus or Selena Gomez? Leave in the comment section. I'm so curious, because I to this day think it's Miley Cyrus with Hannah Montana, but the stats are very close with Selena Gomez and Wizards of Waverly Place, so I don't know. In 2010, Jonas LA and Sunny with a Chance season 2 drop, and they're both a little bit floppy. Like, they're not as big as the original seasons. Miley drops Can't Be Tamed, and it's a flop in comparison to her other songs, and it's her first like more provocative song with provocative dancing and provocative outfits, and she starts doing her own personal tours, and they're quite provocative in the eyes of Disney. I'm putting it all in quotation marks because it's in the eyes of Disney. Miley is also in a lot of scandals. She's caught smoking weed. She has pictures of her boyfriend just cuddling in bed. Nothing crazy, but it was provocative. She has interviews talking about Hannah Montana and having sex. She also, like I said, does tours that are more provocative. This is during Disney's purity culture, where they all wore purity rings, which is the promise that they'll wait until marriage. I don't know if many people remember this. I sure as hell didn't know what purity was at the age of 2012, so 12. At the age of 2012, but I know now, and I know how toxic that was, and I want to talk about that in a separate video. So then Hannah Montana season 4 premieres on Disney, and that is the last season for Hannah Montana. And Miley, actually right before season 4 even premiered, was talking about how much she's distanced herself from the character, from the show, from really everything going on with Disney. So that really left a bad taste in people's mouths, just because it seemed like she wasn't really grateful for what she was given, but I think she was just done. Mentally, physically, she was just done. So it premieres. It has amazing views. Actually, season 4, I found out, is the most viewed out of all of the, is the most like average viewers from all of the seasons. So I thought it was a flop, but it wasn't. People were just very excited for the reveal of Hannah Miley, you know, the whole thing. And I think it was a quite good ending. Like I remember it being emotional for me. Like I think they tied it up very well, all things considered. And at that point, Miley and Disney are done. She is out. And I don't think that's what Disney wanted. I think Disney went from missing out on these big celebrities just because they didn't sign them to any records, or they didn't, you know, give them the opportunity to grow with them, to now pushing their celebrities so far over the edge that they lose them just out of spite, if that makes sense. Like, I think they went from like missing out on opportunities to now catching these opportunities and then like rinsing money out of these young teenagers until these teenagers are just done with Disney and they go on to join different record labels, which maybe if Disney was less pressuring and less difficult to work for and the culture was a little bit easier, they would have kept these celebrities more long term. But I feel like all of these stars went on to sign with different labels after Disney and then create amazing music with different labels after Disney. So Disney struggles with longevity with their stars. I feel like all of them get really burnt out, which isn't great for Disney. Sunny with a Chance actually ended abruptly for I'm not really sure what reason. After season 2, which normally Disney shows get at least 3 seasons, maybe 4 sometimes, it's uncommon for one to have 2 seasons because I think Disney just likes to have 3 seasons at least. And is replaced with the failed So Random, which I hated. I hated that show with a passion. I'm so sorry guys, but I hated it. Selena then releases a second album that goes gold with 2 singles that go 2 times platinum and 1 times platinum. And Wizards of Waverly Place still has amazing views, consistent views. I think they started out just under 4 million average viewers and then went over 4 million. With Hannah Montana, I think it was 4 million average viewers to then 5 million in the last season. After all of this, Demi and Selena are still releasing music under Hollywood Records, and Demi had the most success in music after their show ended, Same with a Chance. From 2013 to 2017, Demi actually goes 25 times platinum. Incredible. Selena was for a long time also the most followed person on Instagram, so they clearly just got like the most famous people of all time. Not that Instagram's like a big, you know, indicator, but still. Now, in 2011, Jonas Brothers go on a hiatus just as a group. Obviously not as brothers, they're still related, but they go on a hiatus as a group. So no more music and money for Disney because they can't create shows around them and they can't create music around them. So they're done. Wizards of Waverly Place is in its last season and Selena just released When the Sun Goes Down, which goes 1 times platinum, and 3 songs went combined 8 times platinum. That was Who Says, Love You Like a Love Song, and Hit the Lights. So Selena is the reigning queen at this point because Miley has left, Demi has left, the Jonas Brothers have left. They really have no one left but Selena Gomez, and she kind of has to stay with them because she's in her last season. She has to stay for at least the duration of her last season. So she is the last one to get all the marketing budgets, the thinking power. It's so easy for her to be successful right now because she is their main focal point. She doesn't have to fight for the spotlight with anyone else. And Selena, I believe, reached her peak on Disney when everyone else left. Like, I thought this was really her time to shine. All resources go towards her. And then we have a bit of a situation because around 2012, Instagram and Vine came in, which made it very easy for teenagers, like older kids and young teens, to put their attention somewhere else. And that was their phones or iPads or tablets or whatever they had. This is kind of coming towards my end, but not really. I kind of have 3 or so years left on Disney, but at this point I'm splitting my focus between Disney and my phone, whereas back in the day it was just the TV. So around this time, from 2010 to 2013, we got Shake It Up, which had Zendaya and Bella Thorne, which both had pretty mediocre music careers, but Zendaya then went on to have an amazing acting career. So clearly she doesn't want to do music, but she did do some music for Euphoria, which is quite nice to see. Like, she was just featured on some of the songs as a singer. And Bella Thorne actually spoke out about the abuse that she suffered while on Disney, which is just another thing to add to my future video list. Yeah, she's spoken pretty badly about Disney and the situations that she has been put in on while working for Disney, which is probably the reason why a lot of child stars leave Disney after a while and then fail to talk positively about Disney. But the only person that hasn't really mentioned it is Selena Gomez. Not that she has spoken about it in a positive light, but just she hasn't mentioned Disney since she has left, from what I've seen. So kind of coming towards my end, we have Girl Meets World from June 2014 to 2017, and it is a reboot of Boy Meets World, with the original 2 characters as the parents of Riley, their daughter now, who is the girl who meets the world. So Rowan and Sabrina play the main characters, and they actually did the title song together. So Rowan went on to do Invisible Sister on Disney, and then she went off Disney to do The Goldbergs from 2017 to 2018, and then The Snowpiercer from 2020 onwards, but she has no music career. So this is another star that just didn't manage to turn into a music pop star, even though she did the title song with Sabrina. However, we have Sabrina Carpenter, who I found around the 2014-2015 era, and I loved her music back then, and I still love her music now. I catch up with all of her new releases. They're all in my playlist. I love them. Heavily recommend Sabrina Carpenter's music. She did music and acting after Disney. With acting, she did Adventures of Babysitting, The Hate You Give, The Short History of the Long Road, Clouds, Emergency, Tall Girl, and then its sequel, Work It. So then she signed with, you guessed it, Hollywood Records in 2014, where she released an EP and single called Can't Blame a Girl for Trying. And then she had her debut album called Eyes Wide Open, with further 3 studio albums, Evolution Singular Act 1 and Singular Act 2, but those never really debuted anywhere above 100 on the Billboard 200. So they weren't huge successes, but they weren't exactly flops either. I'm a huge fan of her music, but it's nowhere near the success of like the OG crew of Selena Gomez, Miley, Jonas Brothers, hitting platinum after platinum after platinum. And did I mention Selena Gomez? Selena, Demi, Miley, and Jonas Brothers, platinum after platinum after platinum. We're getting, you know, barely above 100 on the Billboard 200, which I love Sabrina Carpenter, do not get me wrong. But I feel like Disney hasn't had that same success after the last person left, who is Selena Gomez. Like, I feel like Selena Gomez was like their last golden child, and after that, it just really didn't pan out well for them. So she actually left Hollywood Records and signed with Island Records in 2021 after the release of like her last album with them. And all of this is now past my time, so I can't really talk about this in great like nostalgia, but I've done my research. So we get Bizaardvark in 2016 to 2019, which has Olivia Rodrigo, hint hint, and Jake Paul. Jake Paul is now a pro boxer and a certified menace to society, but Olivia went on to do a show for Disney Plus called High School Musical, the musical, the series, which I haven't watched. She actually wrote 2 songs for the soundtrack, All I Want and Just for a Moment. We have drama. Olivia writes Driver's License about Joshua, who was her co-star on High School Musical, the musical, the series. And allegedly Sabrina Carpenter, Girl Meets World. This is where it all links together. This is why I mentioned Girl Meets World. It was very important for my story. Sabrina and Joshua get a lot of hate. Sabrina then releases a song, and so does Joshua, after all the hype has almost died down, which didn't really have much of an effect on their careers as they did on Olivia's. Let's talk about Olivia. Like, we have now one megastar comparable to Miley, Selena, Demi. But what went wrong? What went wrong? Let me tell you. She's not signed with Disney. That's what went wrong. She is not signed with Disney. So the only songs that she ever wrote for Disney were the 2 songs that I mentioned. She actually signed with Interscope Records, and she released Sour with them, her debut album, which was a huge success. Let's talk about it. I think it was mainly a huge success due to the virality of TikTok and just Driver's License as a song on TikTok. It was crazy. I think when it dropped, I was like, literally every time I scrolled on TikTok, it was Driver's License. It was #1 in US, Australia, Canada, Denmark, Ireland, Norway, New Zealand, Sweden, and the UK, with 560,000 sales in the US, 400,000 in the UK, along with 14 times platinum across different certifications. Driver's License actually broke Spotify record twice for most daily streams ever for a non-holiday song. It was 15.7 million one day and 17 million the next day. It was the first song to hit 80 million streams in a week on Spotify and was the 3rd US and 4th UK best-selling album as her debut album. We can make a controversial opinion here, controversial judgment, and say that this is actually way more success than the OG stars had, right? Only issue is the OG stars were signed to Hollywood Records and Olivia's signed to Interscope Records. So Deja Vu was the 2nd song she released after Driver's License, and it was number 8, which means that she's actually the first artist to get 2 top 10 songs as her first 2 songs. Like the first 2 songs that she released as an artist both went top 10, which hasn't happened before. Though she has many other records that she has beat. She's literally beat so many records for just different things, but we're not going to talk about all of that. Now, Olivia Rodrigo is almost Disney's villain origin story. It's the repeat of Britney, but most importantly is the repeat of Hilary Duff. Because I feel like Britney, Christina, and why did I just forget his name? Justin Timberlake were a different story. They were like a different time on Disney when Disney wasn't really trying to manufacture these celebrities. But I feel like Hilary Duff was like the first time they realized that people have a need and want for these celebrities. And by people, I mean children. So I feel like Olivia Rodrigo is a repeat of Hilary Duff. It was when they were almost there, but not quite there. And they're just not having it. Also, Olivia and Sabrina were just spotted together, which could lead to a nice collab. I'm hoping for some collaborative music. Disney Channel is also shutting down in the UK and it's all moving to Disney Plus, which is a streaming platform, which just goes to show that everything is moving towards new media rather than mainstream media. So Disney is struggling with social media marketing as a whole. And since kids aren't glued to TVs the way we were in a traditional sense of the word, everything is now on demand on Disney Plus. You can pick and choose what you want to watch without ads, without the promotions and premieres being shoved in your face. I feel like back in the day, I couldn't avoid finding out what the new TV shows are. And they would specifically make things play in a specific order to make me watch it. So they would play High School Musical 2 and then Hannah Montana with Jonas Brothers. And then, you know, they all had it placed out. Now I can go on Disney Plus with my potential child that doesn't exist and choose to play an episode of Hannah Montana and then an episode of something without their timeline interfering with that. I get to create the timeline, which isn't great for them because they don't get to market to my children, my hypothetical children, as much. So they cannot manipulate viewership the way they were doing that in the past. They have iPads, phones, etc. So they're not really watching an ad about a new show that's premiering. And they just really haven't adapted to social media. They haven't advertised on social media. I feel like you don't really see Disney Channel related things on social media. And I feel like Olivia Rodrigo was the first thing to come out of Disney Channel that then went viral on social media. And it's a shame that she then wasn't signed to Hollywood Records because Disney just didn't get that social media virality situation for themselves. She got a boost on Disney and then just went off and did her own thing. So if they missed out on Olivia, the way that they missed out on Hilary Duff, does that mean that their cycle is coming back around? Because I feel like after Hilary Duff, we had the Cheetah Girls and then we had the OG crew. Is Olivia Rodrigo the new Hilary Duff? Are we going to get the Cheetah Girls moment and then the original crew again? Is Disney Channel, aka Disney Plus now, figuring out a new way to manufacture these stars in a way that they used to do it in the ye good old days? I feel like there's a trend cycle with everything. You know, boots that were popular in 2005 are now popular again because of the trend cycle. And I wouldn't be surprised if the trend cycle applied to other things like manufacturing celebrities. And I feel like Disney has a lot of money and Disney has a lot of power to make things happen, and I feel like they are maybe slowly adjusting to the new climate. And they are just like, you know how they didn't really adjust to the climate back then, you know, from Christina Aguilera and Britney to then Hilary Duff. They were like just trying to find their footing, trying to figure out how TV was working, and then to the OG crew, I feel like now they're like once again not figuring out their footing, like, oh, Olivia, TikTok, virality, oh, like they're trying to figure it out. And I feel like they will. I feel like they will. Things repeat every 10 to 20 years in fashion and in makeup and everything else. And I feel like things are going to repeat every 10 to 20 years here. We've got just under 20 years for the Cheetah Girls and we've got over 10 years for the crew, the OG crew, Selena, Miley, Demi and the Jonas Brothers. So I feel like we're in that perfect time for Disney to make a comeback with creating celebrities. That's my video on the Disney stars. I hope it was detailed enough. I had so much fun researching this and I had so much fun telling you guys about it. Let me know what you guys think and who do you think is the next star and how they're going to make it happen. Subscribe with that bell, like, comment for engagement. I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.